Good evening and welcome to this edition of the Sports Den. My name is Dominic Papa. Thanks for coming along for the ride this evening. Before we get to our panel, I want to give a shout out to the University of Windsor men's hockey team, ranked number 4 in the country. As far as I'm concerned, they're number 1. They are a perfect 9-0 to start the season. Kevin Hamlin and the gang off to a great start. They'll be in action this weekend. If you want to check out some great OUA hockey action, go to the Lancer website, golancers.ca. And you can find out when their games and times and locations will all be there in that box there on their page. Also want to give a shout out to the AKO Fratman football team. Back-to-back OFC championships. They defeat the Hamilton Hurricanes 18-10 in the championship game. Of course, a game you saw right here on we-tv.ca. The Fratman will now play for the Eastern Canadian Championship against the, yes, I'm not even going to try to say that name. It's the North River in English. North River Sabercats, and we'll have the game for you live with our kickoff pregame show at 1:30, and all of the action starting at 2 p.m. at Windsor Stadium, and you can see it all here on we-tv.ca. Good luck to Mike Lachance, Mike Morency, and the entire AKO football team this coming Saturday. Pretty exciting times. I also want to give a shout out to the men's and women's basketball teams at the University of Windsor. They kick off their schedules. Good luck to Chris Oliver and Chantal Valet with their respective programs. On this edition of the Sports Den, a couple of different things we're going to talk about. One good topic that I'm really excited to hear the panel's thoughts about is the future of sports television. Where is it going? How is it going to work for the everyday sports fan? How is it going to work for the sports fan that can't afford to go to the games? So it's a great topic to discuss. I'm going to talk a little bit about the Detroit Lions, more specifically Matt Stafford. Is he a big game quarterback now? Is he the real deal? And does he or can he lead the Detroit Lions to the promised land? We'll get the panel's thoughts on that. And of course, our prayers and thoughts are with Gordie Howe, the former Red Wing great. It brought up a lot of discussions among friends. So I want to ask the panel, who's the greater Red Wing, Gordie Howe or Steve Yzerman? So those are the topics we're going to discuss. We've got a great panel here assembled to talk about those things with us. Sitting across the table from me, he's an outstanding businessman downtown Windsor. He does a great job, but does a lot of good things in our community. Mr. Ronaldo Agostino is with us. Thanks for coming in, Ronaldo. What do you got going on?
Well, you know,
you're always busy. You have always got something going.
Luckily, we just finished another successful music festival down on the riverfront in partnership with the University of Windsor and the University of Windsor Student Alliance to just over 9,000 people and sprayed the city in color. And you know, working at the establishments downtown, and I'm also now working back and forth with my old friend Rob Katzman at some of his establishments. So. Keep them busy.
Yeah, you don't stop. I see you all over the place, and
it's a busy life, but it's an exciting one.
Yeah, absolutely. Good stuff. Thanks for coming in. Good luck with everything. Okay.
Thank you.
Love that old Expo cap too. By the way, that's good stuff.
Thank you.
Also with us, gentlemen, I do a lot of different things with. He's part of the USP organizing committee. Does a great job for them here with that, and also he's an assistant coach with the women's softball team. Or is that right? Softball.
Yeah, you got it right.
Women's softball at St. Clair College. I'm always very careful with this softball, fastball thing. But of course, the women's team, an outstanding season this year with Doug Wiseman and this gentleman, Jim Stonehouse, at the helm. Thanks for coming in, Stoney.
No problem.
Great season for the ladies.
You know what? We had a wonderful season.
Yeah.
We won the gold here in Ontario, and we were silver medalists at the Nationals in Calgary. Couldn't ask for more. The kids played their hearts out, and we worked hard. And Dougie Wiseman and the crew out there, Mike Sikora and his daughter, we did a good job, and I'm very, very proud of them. Proud to be a Saint, quite frankly.
Absolutely.
They took good care of us. And by the way, my nephew plays for the Lancers now. Ryan Green's playing hockey there, so we're watching them, and I agree with you. Good team. I saw them the other night.
Exciting.
Yeah.
Great hockey, that OUA stuff, I'll tell you.
Certainly is.
The difference between softball and fastball, please explain
it is the same sport. Softball has two divisions, a fastball and a slow pitch, right? Or a giggle and hit, whatever you call it. Anyways, windmill pitching, fast. And it used to be called fastball. The technical name is softball.
I'll never forget the one time I said women's baseball. Boy, did I get reprimanded.
As you should.
It was the end of the world, and I just got beat up.
Because some of the girls do play baseball.
Yeah. But deservedly, I took a punch in the mouth. So don't ever say that. It was like a bad word.
Yeah, and I'm also proud that I'm involved with the Herman baseball team for the high school, and it's just wonderful. Coaching the boys in the spring and then the girls in the fall is pretty awesome.
Yeah, good. You're a very active man.
Try to be.
Great to be retired, isn't it?
It is so.
Absolutely. Thanks for coming in, Stoney. No also, no stranger to WeTV. Of course, he has resurrected himself, actually, in some ways, but one of the best play-by-play guys to come out of our area, maybe the best play-by-play guy to come out of our area. And again, he's resurrected himself with the Spitfires right here on WeTV. He does the Kelso Spitfire Report, which you can watch after every Spitfire game. Mr. Bill Kelso.
Thanks, Don. My middle name now is Lazarus. Thank you. Yes, thank you for that nice introduction. Yeah. It's great to be here.
Yeah, you've got the Spitfire Report going for WeTV, which we're thankful for, and certainly something that I know is close to your heart, dear to your heart, but also just great hockey coverage, something that you love being part of.
Yeah, and it's, again, you follow the kids around, you see it's a very young club, and, they start off, some people would say a little slowly, and there's various factors that may have factored into that, but I think they're going to start hitting their stride. They've won 2 of their last 3, and overall looking pretty good for the most part, and it does take some time.
Yeah, well, they're going to go through some growing pains, we know that, but I think they're going in the right direction there. I think they've got a really nice nucleus base that's developing, which is going to be good for the next couple of years. So good to have you on board, though, with the reports. I know a lot of people are viewing them, and certainly appreciate what you do there with the Spitfires.
It's great to be working with WeTV and the folks here, and they've been great to work with. And got to do a big shout out to my camera person, Christina. She's doing a great job.
All right, good stuff, good stuff. Speaking of other events, one other thing I want to just let our viewers know, Windsor Express Basketball, of course, WeTV will televise their home opener. Busy week for WeTV. Game time's at 7 p.m. It's at the Windsor Family Credit Union Center. The defending champions Express will help them raise the banner, get their rings, and they'll take on the Brampton A's. So if you want to watch exciting National Basketball League of Canada action, tune in to WeTV this coming Friday, November 7th at 7 p.m. With all of that said, if you want to get involved with our discussion this evening, you can do that as well by going to our Twitter account. It's at SportsDen Live. You could tweet in. If I get some time, I'll be checking my little iPad here. And if you want to make some comments, if you want to throw some shots at our panel, they'll take it. Go ahead and do it and have some fun and be part of the show. Let's get into it, guys. Sports television, great topic because the way things are going, you look at the colleges, like you got the Big Ten Network now doing their own thing. There's talk about Maple Leaf Television getting bigger and controlling their own product, things like that. Where is the future of sports television going, guys?
Right here.
Okay.
I think that the reality is broadcasters are starting to realize that people look at the small screen more than they look at the big screen now. I think people are so fixated on their phones and their iPads that a television is now the secondary screen in the home. So to be able to provide content to the small screen, sports leagues are signing bigger contracts more now than ever with obviously with the NHL and with the NBA just had one, and I'm sure the NFL will be the next big one to say, well, the traditional television viewing habits or the traditional television rights mean nothing compared to the digital era. What can you see on your phone? What can you see on your TV? And how can we take money for you from it?
Okay. Fair to say that, guys?
Yeah, and I think Ronaldo that makes a real good point in regards to it's global as opposed to just local or
I think that's
regional.
real.
And I think that's really the key, and also allows teams and leagues to really brand their product, if you will.
What do you think, Stoney? I know you still like that television and that clicker in your hand.
I'm retired, buddy. I got the big screen.
There we
I
go.
sit back on the couch and I watch the games. Now,
Black and white.
I black and white, yeah, down the basement, like old hockey on Saturday night.
Wow.
But no, seriously, I'm a couch guy. On Sunday afternoon, I have to buy the football package. You know what I mean? I have to buy the.
Well,
package.
if you're subscribing to
and I got the
a
Big
cable.
Ten.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, what can you do? Because it doesn't come free, right?
No.
And to scroll up and down and see all the stuff, even the red zone stuff and everything. But I appreciate that. But that's what all the kids do today. Everybody's got that in their hands.
Well, it's kind of like, I think it's changed, it's evolving. I mean, you even look at, what the newspapers are doing today. They all have a website now.
Oh, yeah.
And they're pushing the website, the digital part of it, as
sure are.
Ronaldo alluded to. I mean, the days of holding a newspaper, maybe not in the, too close future, but certainly down the road, I think that's going to be gone,
Well, I'm going to tell you the asset to that is that I go to the Lions football game, for example. They're worst in the league at having out-of-town scores up there. They have a little running thing that comes by once in a while. But everybody else sitting around me has got all the other, because, football, we're football fans. We want to know what's going on in our division or other teams playing around the place. So I can see the advent of that. And if they're doing that, I'll probably be playing Candy Crush or something while I watch the game.
My only fear is that it's going to get dirty. And I can already feel it. I can see it coming.
Dirty in what sense, Ronaldo?
Well, they make it appear to us that this is an asset for the sports fan. But the reality is they're looking for the cash. And what happens when, you're watching a traditional football game on NBC or on CBS, and in the past, when it goes to overtime, or something else was coming up, they would always say, well, you got to turn to NBC Sports Network. What happens when they start forcing you to pay for it? To say, hey, we're going to overtime, the only way you're going to be able to watch it is on the app. Or we're going to start showing Thursday night games exclusively on the app.
Yeah.
Or your home team exclusively on the app.
Yeah, but I understand what you're saying. It's a good point, but just the same, they're going to want viewers because it's going to generate advertisers. Bottom line is they're still going to have advertisers and sponsors to be a part of any type of broadcast. They can try to start it as a subscription, but then do you get rid of advertisers and sponsors?
Right now, I just signed up for $200 for the season for NBA League Pass because I'm a Toronto guy. I'm a Toronto Raptors fan. I live in the jurisdiction of blackouts online, right? So if I want to watch the game, I got to pay for it, right? Advertising to them means nothing. If you can get 100 million people or 100,000 people,
Well, that's what I'm saying.
$200,
Is that where they go with it?
absolutely, that's where they're going. Look what Rogers signed with the digital thing for the NHL. There's the Rogers Online NHL app that, from everything they're doing in-house on studio, whether it's on City or CBC or any other of their
You
networks.
can get it then on that app.
Yeah, it's all going to the app. It's just a matter of time before they say it goes to the app, because why work so hard to get all these advertising dollars in there and chase people around and create commercials when you can just get people to actually pay for the content now? To say, you know what, you want to watch the games, you want to watch the home games, you want to watch the away games.
You're gonna pay for it.
It's going to cost you money. And in the past, you couldn't do it because the distribution channel wasn't there, because there was only so many channels on the television.
Now you got the platforms to do it.
That's right. Now you got the internet, so why not make people pay more than they ever have? And it's going to get even more interesting when they get to say, well, we'll sell you a VR headset for $1,000 and you can feel like you're sitting in the front row of Maple Leaf Gardens or Air Canada Center. It's going to happen. It may be 10 or 15 years, or maybe 5. But the experience of watching at home is going to be just as good as the experience of watching at the arena, but you're going to pay just as much as you would pay at the arena to watch it at home.
I don't agree with that part.
It's going to happen.
You know what? I still love going to an arena to watch a game and a football stadium. I mean,
Yeah, nothing beats things live.
yeah, I mean, I don't know if
But the cost
they
could be
can
what it
match
is.
that
Yes,
experience. I don't know if that can be
on-
matched.
You can only put 22,000 people inside an arena, right?
I get that part, but just the same, you got 22,000 screaming fans, and there's a lot of things that you don't see on television, as much as I love television, or a production anyways, that you don't see at home that you see at the arena. And the best sport is baseball. You don't see any of the ongoing signals and the little tactics that are in play there. So it's not the same experience.
Well, they're enhancing it, because if you watch your
Well,
game on
you know what?
CBC,
Unless they put a camera on every player and
Well,
like
it's-
a game within a
but
game,
if you're
if you
watching,
will, I
if you're
suppose.
watching the game on CBC or on any of the other networks that they have that Rogers has, you're only limited to what they're showing you. If you're watching
Correct.
the game on the app, you can choose between 7 different camera angles to say whether you want
Sure.
to watch from the penalty
Oh,
box.
Because they've got 30 cameras doing the
That's
game.
right. So you get to actually
I
pick
get
what
that,
you want to
but
see.
even that doesn't give you everything.
No.
It's impossible.
No.
It's
You
impossible.
really don't get a feel. I think
Yeah,
that's
and
what
you
I'm
don't
saying.
have that feel of being part of the game. I can appreciate what you're trying to say here. Are you selling these apps, by the way?
No,
Is
I'm
that why you're
not. I'm not, but I can see. I see
But he
where
gets it though.
Yeah,
I
he's
see
getting
where it's
it.
going. I can see
Yeah.
that there's.
Yeah.
I can see that there's obviously big
Yes,
bucks
yes.
behind this, and
Ronaldo's
that's
a visionary.
Well, no,
And I
listen,
can see that.
and I know, I don't disagree with that part of it, because you look at Google and Yahoo and all them, they're all creating their own internet channels, okay? They're getting involved. Look at YouTube, okay? YouTube's now part of a smart television, okay? You don't have to hook up your computer anymore. They're getting right into the Wi-Fi, and you can watch YouTube on your big screen television without hooking up a computer now. So that's where this is going. I don't argue that point. But as for it giving you a better experience and actually being at the game, and plus you don't get to see the cheerleaders on the sidelines at the football game the way you do it.
Especially in
eventually
Detroit.
you will. Eventually you
We're at
will.
the cheerleader camp.
No, they'll put you. They're already testing. They're already testing VR headsets, virtual reality stuff.
Tony, Stoney, let me ask you again. We're the old school here. Well, Kelso's pretty damn old
Yeah,
too,
he's old.
but will this fly? I mean, where does a person say, I'm not paying for this, I'm not paying that much more, and just let it go? Could it hurt sports?
Oh, I don't think it can hurt sports, but I do think that he's right. The generational gap, they're all using the apps.
And they're used to paying.
And they're used to paying, and I think the price of the app gets driven down, quite frankly, with the volume. So I think that's the future. I personally don't do
Okay,
that stuff.
would you subscribe to it?
No, absolutely not.
But you don't- but-
I subscribe to extra cable
I was
stations.
going to just say, but you subscribe
Like-
to extra cable
yeah.
and pay that.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
isn't this kind of like the same idea
I
here?
don't know. I don't know. You know, the bigger the screen, the more I
He
pay
doesn't want to
for
hold it in
it.
his hands. He wants to be able to
I
watch.
wanna sit down and
Yeah.
But again, I'm sure with the advent of smart television
Yes.
now, that it's not going to be too far away there.
Like I watch all
could
my
be.
games on my TV. I just use a Roku box.
Okay, see, and I'm not hip to all that stuff. But
I don't
it
use
works.
conventional cable because conventional cable is twice the price of what I pay to watch. I want to watch hockey. I want to watch basketball.
Yep.
I don't want to have 700 channels that I never watch.
Good,
The
fair
700
enough,
channels I
fair
always
enough.
watch cost me $180 a
And you're
month.
not
for
gonna
cable.
watch all of them.
That's right. I never do.
Yeah.
I'd rather pay $400 for the entire year
For what
and
you
just
want.
what I
What you
want to
want.
watch. That's it. I don't care about the other channels.
That's a good call.
Right?
That is a good call. I think a lot of people would agree with that. But again, I think it really comes down to, and now here's the other thing that's happening a little bit. Well, you mentioned, the NFL. They have the NFL Network. They're obviously controlling some of the things, some of the broadcasts, and they've taken the Thursday night games now, I believe it is, and now those are on the NFL Network, and they're not on CBS anymore. So there was a deal to do a few of the games on CBS, I think the first 5 or 6 weeks. Now it goes to the NFL Network. So again, here's where you have to get the NFL channel and take over. Maple Leaf Television, they do a handful of games every year on Maple Leaf Television, okay? This is where I really think it's going, sports, the future of sports television, where teams or leagues are going to control who can and can't watch them. Think that's going to happen?
Yeah, I can see it happening because it's starting to becoming more and more now.
Stoney?
Yeah, I'm agreeing with you. And I'm also liking this concept of, I mean, the great point is that you don't have to have Duck Dynasty and stuff in your cable package if that's all you want to watch is hockey and basketball, right? So very good point in that term.
Okay, I got to take a time out, guys. When we come back, we're going to talk some Detroit sports. We're going to talk about Matt Stafford and the Lions, and Gordie Howe and the Detroit Red Wings. We'll have that for you right here on the Sports Den Live on we-tv.ca.
Imagine a place to climb, to tumble, to fly, to run, to glide, to achieve, where a sense of health, friendly competition, and growth all come together. Can you imagine that place, that destination? We have, and we're building it right now in Windsor, with a planned development of almost 200,000 square feet of athletic playground, and that's just on the inside. Central Park Athletics, some of it's already here, the rest is coming soon. Imagine that.
They're going to take him.
Welcome back to the Sports Den. Thanks for sticking around. Dominic Papa. Listen, before we get back to our panel, our discussion, a quick reminder coming up here on we-tv.ca this week. First of all, on Friday evening, November 7th, the National Basketball League of Canada action. The defending champions, the Windsor Express, will make their home debut. They take on the Brampton A's. Game time is at 7 p.m. from the Windsor Family Credit Union Center. You can watch all of that action right here live on we-tv.ca. And also, the AKO Fratman will be back in action the next day on November 8th. They'll take on the North River Sabercats, the Quebec League champions. They're calling this the Eastern Canadian Championship, which indeed it is. The Fratman will look to knock off the Sabercats. Pre-game shows at 1:30. All of the action starting at 2 p.m. from the Windsor Stadium. And of course, we-tv.ca is the place to watch all that. WeTV, we got you covered. Ronaldo Agostino is here from a downtown Windsor businessman. Also, Jim Stonehouse from the St. Clair College Lady Saints softball team. And Bill Kelso of WeTV fame is with us in the studio. Matt Stafford, Detroit Lions, a lot of buzz, 6-2, couple of comeback victories. Is Matt Stafford over the hump? Is he a big game quarterback?
My wife hates him.
Okay.
I'm just saying. No, I have mixed emotions because right now it's his 6th year, been disappointed a little bit in the past. This year, a couple lucky victories, and I'd rather be lucky than good any day. You kick a field goal and it goes wide, and obviously you do it again on a penalty. That was nice. But he did beat Breeze, and I got to say that. He came back and outdid Drew Brees. I think he has trouble, but right now his main weapons are missing. So it's a
And they're
little
still finding
tough.
a way to win.
And they're still finding a way to win, which is a good credit to the team. I mean, he throws a lot of bad stuff as far as I'm concerned.
I'm agreeing with you. I don't think he's an upper echelon quarterback, at least not yet. And I don't know how many years it takes to do that in the NFL.
Well, some guys are coming in 2 years.
Yeah,
and going
well,
to
I
the
look at
Super
Andrew
Bowl.
Luck. This guy, I just think the world of him
Yeah.
in Indianapolis. This guy's the real deal, and you know, he has for sure surpassed Stafford. I don't even look at Stafford as being in the top 10 of best quarterbacks in the league.
There you go.
You know, I just think there's still a lot of work to be done. And
But he's serviceable, and he can win with the right team. He can do it. His 6th year in, but this is the year I think he has to establish himself.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people felt that way. Go ahead, Bill.
I think the Lions, you know, and this year, obviously, I think it's the defensive that it's carried the mail per se. And but at the same time, you still have to put points on the board to win.
Correct.
And they've had a heck of a problem, obviously, with field goal kickers.
Oh,
So
really?
part and parcel, my feeling is he upper echelon? No, but is he below average? No, either. I think he's a shade above average. In other words, you got great, good, fair, poor. I'm saying good, but not great.
Well, I think if you switch Stafford and Luck to switch the teams, what's the result? You know,
I think the
seriously.
Lions are a better
Forward
team.
down the field.
Well, but
I think Luck makes his team better. I think he makes his players around him better. I don't think Stafford does that yet.
well, I think a lot of it is the opposite. I think the players make him better, and I think if you put Stafford over there, I think that you know,
Really,
and-
though,
and-
who's
and maybe from
who's
day
Luck
one.
throwing to that's better than what Stafford has?
It's not that, it's the organization. When Andrew Luck walked in there, he had an organization that was ready to go for him.
Mm-hmm.
When Matt Stafford walked into Detroit,
He was given the. I don't agree.
It was a mess there.
But
They
he,
hadn't won in
whether
13
it was a mess or
years,
that's
they've been
not
coming
that's not Andrew Luck's fault that he went into a situation where they execute their game plan better. But they were both coming into their situations and saying, "Here's the ball. You run with it."
yeah, but it's not just the ball. How much does momentum and the positive attitude along the locker room?
Yeah, but there
how
was
much
a
does that
couple of
mean
rough
for a
years
guy?
there for the Colts.
I don't even think there was one, if I remember
Oh, yeah,
correctly.
there
I think
was. There was a
they-
couple of rough
I think
years.
They switched right there and had a
You
pretty
know,
good team.
Lower level years. They've always been a good team, but there was a couple of down years there where you know there was a transition from Manning to Luck and things like that. But I think Luck came in his rookie season. He was far better than what Stafford was in his rookie season. And Stafford's got the best receiver in all of football.
And
He's
that's
missed
it.
most of the season.
And that's it.
Who's
But
best-
really, how
well,
much?
this year, okay. But I'm just saying
Okay.
that's a guy he's had. You know, he's had pretty good receiving cores there to work with.
But how has he utilized them? Is it the offensive coordinator
Well,
that's giving him the problem?
Okay, so how much of this does fall onto Stafford's shoulders, or you know what? Does he get the exemption because of other situations?
I think it's winning attitude.
Mm-hmm.
I think if the Lions can continue to win, and the reality is, how many more years does Stafford have left? If this is his 6th season, do you think he's got another 6 in him?
I think so.
I think so.
Oh, I think so. I mean, as long as he stays
Yeah.
healthy, obviously.
And could that second 6, is he going to have the opportunity in that second 6 to become a championship quarterback? Or has his tenure been wasted because he just hasn't been on a really good football team? You know? And that's where, you know, I think Matt Stafford's a great quarterback. I think he's shown that potential and he's won games. I just think that the team around him and the attitude around him, if it was like it was in Indy, I think it'd be different.
It seems to be a collaborative team effort, both offense and defense, as opposed to just one side of the ball
like
at
we-
the end of the day.
We've seen mid-tier quarterbacks win the Super Bowl, right? We haven't seen.
Yeah,
You know, we need to see.
But
he needs
you
to-
know what? Everybody picks on the Lions and saying that they're not. You know what? William Clay Ford, everybody. You look at the money they've spent. They spend money. It's not like they don't get players signed. I mean, they've signed Stafford to a pretty good contract. Look at what Calvin Johnson's getting. I mean, they're taking care of their marquee guys. Look what they gave Bush. You know, they got a guy like Bush to come there. You know, it's not like they don't spend money. It's
And
not like they
Golden
don't.
Tate.
Yeah, Tate's another
But
one
in the
this year.
NFL,
It's not
spending
like
money is
they-
not an issue. Everybody spends money. in the NFL.
But it is an issue, and it can make a difference. And this is where I really get upset sometimes with people when they say, well, the Lions, the organization. Well, the organization's been, look what they put up with for years with the GM there. What was his name?
Millen,
Millen.
Eminem.
Yeah, you know, but yet they paid him well.
And they still hire him to do analysts. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Tell me everything you know about football. in about
I
1
couldn't do
minute.
that one myself, but
Well-
you know what I'm saying? Like
Okay,
this
but
is-
you know what?
This is not an organization that goes cheap.
No, but I don't
No,
think,
but you asked the question was Stafford. Now
Yeah.
Stafford using Megatron. If I had a guy that tall and that athletic, I'd be throwing a ball up in the air, let him catch the
The
ball.
one thing you said earlier, Stoney, that I agree with you, there's a lot of balls that are behind receivers, and he's lucky he's got the receivers he does because they turn him into receptions. So how good is Stafford
Well,
right now?
I'm sort of agreeing with Bill here that he's above average. He's a good quarterback. He's a serviceable quarterback. He's not an Andrew Luck. I mean, he's just not. Look, Kaepernick. Look at all the guys coming in now, doing a great job in their first, second year in the league.
Okay, so you two think he's a little bit, you think he's great.
I think he's great. He's just with the wrong organization, and hopefully the Lions can turn it around.
All right, okay,
Hopefully
we'll leave that
I
at
hope
that.
so, too.
Speaking of great, the greatest, one of the greatest hockey players ever, Gordie Howe, of course, is in tough right now. And again, we're thinking about Mr. Hockey big time. But it leads to a lot of discussions when you get talking about Gordie Howe, the Red Wings, things like that. And there's always been talk about the many great Red Wings. Well, the one question that came across my lap a little while ago was, who's the greatest Red Wing ever? Is it Gordie Howe or is it Steve Yzerman? And it'd be interesting. It's pretty interesting what a lot of people think and say. So I'm going to throw that out to you guys before we wrap up here. Who is the better Red Wing or the greater Red Wing?
I defer to my generational guy here.
Actually, quite frankly, I may not take either one. I would take Nick Lidstrom.
Wow.
Quite frankly.
Okay.
20-year guy at defense, a tougher position in my opinion.
Yeah.
So if you're going for best all-time Red Wing, I think it's Nick Lidstrom.
Wow.
I think
okay.
that-
that
okay.
opens up another.
Yeah, we're not going to go through
Can of
the
worms?
Chuck and stuff. Here's the thing. Generationally, and I think you made a good point, but generationally, I grew up with Gordie Howe. I mean, I'm an old guy, right?
Sure.
Gordie Howe was the greatest of them all. We even had a song to that effect. In the modern day, Steve Yzerman, honest to goodness. I mean, scoring defenseman. They came in and asked him to play defense, and he
did
won
it.
Stanley Cups, right? I mean, it was brilliant because, I mean, it even alludes to the fact, how do you do a performance contract with a guy if you score goals? Defensively, they won Stanley Cups when they asked him to make the change, and he proved that he could play both ways.
Yeah.
And a great ambassador for the sport, too.
Oh, for sure, for sure.
I mean,
But
not
so-
that
but
not
Gordie
that
Howe
Howe
has been
wasn't
too.
in his day, but that's been a long time, and the game has changed a lot, right?
Well, for sure. And it's hard to, maybe for that reason, to compare. But that argument comes out now. Who's the greatest Red Wing?
Well, if I had to go buy a jersey, I'd buy a Howe jersey right now.
Okay. Where do you go with this one, Ronaldo? And of course, you were not around when Gordie Howe was in
But
the
no,
scene.
but lucky enough, last year when they brought him, when the DWA brought him for the parade, he did a meet and greet at one of our venues, and you never find a nicer guy than Gordie Howe.
Sure.
His agents, the people with him, wanted to charge for autographs. He said, "No, I'm signing everything for free," and he sat there till the end. And he was arm wrestling people and complaining when people were trying to help him out of a car, and then he could do it on his own. I think when it comes to the difference between Gordie and Steve is that now that Gordie's at the end of his career and that everything's over, he's still a Red Wing. Will Steve look at his career the same way? Or is Steve going to be more of an executive? Is there sour grapes with this whole Tampa thing? And I know Gordie did his own thing, going to the WHA and playing in Hartford, but Gordie is a Red Wing. I don't know if Steve
is
I don't know if he's
too.
I don't know if he's defined his legacy.
If you remember when he retired, they still employed him in the organization until he decided to take the Tampa job. He wanted to become a GM and give credit to Steve Yzerman. He could have stuck around and pushed buttons and say, "Look, I've paid my dues with this organization. You need to fit me in here." And Kenny Holland. I mean, what can you say about Kenny Holland? Talk about a class act. Steve didn't push those buttons, though he didn't put any pressure on it, and he decided, okay, I'm going to go take this challenge here in Tampa. I give him full marks for that because if Steve Yzerman wants to come back to do something with the Red Wings, the Ilitches are going to open that door, no problem.
There's some loyalty still there, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely, but there's just no room. I mean, there's only so many jobs available, and how do you get rid of a guy like Ken Holland?
I still think Steve hasn't defined. Steve still has so much more of a career to define himself.
Sure,
I mean, it's
sure.
ongoing.
He's
And
only
because of
49
that, I
years
think it
old.
goes to Gordie right now because Gordie is
He's
a Red Wing.
He's true and true.
He's red and white. He's a Detroit Red Wing all the way.
Yeah, but he did leave the Red Wings too to go to the WHA.
He did. He
Yeah,
did.
he mentioned it,
He did.
So,
He did. But he
there's
went
that.
back.
To play
He
with
went
his
back.
kids,
He went
right?
back.
Yeah, to play with his kids. So
And let's not forget Jimmy DeVolano, man. Jimmy DeVolano created that.
For sure.
Created that stuff.
Yep.
First guy over in Europe,
Yep.
bringing guys back
Yep.
here. Are you kidding?
Peter Klima.
They were
Yeah.
way ahead
Yep.
of the rest of the pack.
You're right.
and
Good call on that
it'll
one.
be interesting to see if Steve takes the job if it becomes available.
Oh, he will. Absolutely will. That'd be no
We'll
brainer.
see.
Yeah, well,
All right.
Now to define it, right? If the job becomes available, will he take
We'll
it?
have to see.
be great.
Ronaldo, good luck with everything. Stoney, always great to see you. Bill, great to see you as well. Thanks for coming in, guys. That's it for this edition of the Sports Den. Again, check us out next Tuesday night for the Sports Den Live. We'll have more great sports discussion for you right here every Tuesday on we-tv.ca. Until then, this is Dominic Papa wishing you a great night. Take care, everybody. We'll see you all again very soon.